Alright guys, today we're back with another video and we're going to be reading the third chapter of The Cost of Knowing, Chapter 3, The Graveyard. Mom and Dad used to tell us when we were still young enough to believe people can understand anything about the universe, that people are always chasing after impossible things. We want what we can't have. We ask questions we don't fully understand, looking for answers we wouldn't be able to handle. People pay accountants and psychologists to give them power over the here and now. And they pay life coaches, fitness trainers, doctors, and tarot readers so they can control more of the future. But none of them really want to be sure of what will happen. You can't convince me that anyone really wants to know when they'll die, or when they'll get married, or when they'll have kids, or how many. The not knowing is what makes life meaningful. The surprise of my girlfriend picking me up at the work with blue hair. The suspense of wondering if she'll turn to me and kiss me, or if we'll get into a massive fight and she'll break up with me like my vision. Whenever that night comes, spending summer days on the sofa across the room from Isaiah, the two of us on our phones, not acknowledging each other except to ask if the other wants a snack, happily unaware of the hours we have left to get to know each other. My visions took all of that away. I sigh and roll from my side to my back to stare at my ceiling. The moment I saw him, the last living piece of my immediate family, lying inside a box at the bottom of a hole in the ground. He was already dead. I know that I can't stop it, but I shut my eyes and begin ripping through the facts I have in my head regardless. Everyone dies. Isaiah's going to, just like me. But is it really in only a few days? Less than a week left? Lying in bed looking at the photo, which is happening now, the morning in the graveyard, at least I think it was morning, the evening I'm going to spend sitting in my chair looking at the photo again. Darkness. The evening, what I assume is evening, lights flickering through my jacket pocket. More darkness. The morning in the graveyard. I shake my head. There's no way this is happening. Isaiah's a healthy, excluding all the cereal and pizza bites, 12-year-old kid. He can't just... No, it's not happening. Maybe I'm stuck in one of those time loop things I've heard about. Maybe I'm still stuck in a vision of me lying in bed, staring at my ceiling. Maybe I'm dreaming. I shake my head and pinch the back of my hand. No vision, since touching my own body doesn't count. The pinch doesn't help. I reach down and grab my comforter and shoo away a vision of me fast asleep in bed, probably years from now. Nope, this is reality. Maybe Isaiah fakes his own death? Then I shake my head and scoff at my own thoughts. How the hell would he pull that off? He'd have to be some boy genius, and Isaiah is no genius. He'd have to dig or hire someone to dig a rectangular hole, get a casket off eBay, and convince me the whole thing wasn't staged. There's no freaking way. And that red in my vision, the whole world looking like I was watching through blood, my heart races out of control again. I don't want to believe, but that red can mean death and nothing else. But what if? I'm out of ideas, but desperate for another. What if anything but this? My heart is thundering. Then another thought crosses my mind. Maybe it's a different Isaiah Rufus. I dive for my phone, banishing a vision of me unlocking it and unlock it. I take to Google. Rufus, last name, how common? I search. I click the first result and read, and my stomach twists into a knot. Apparently, the last name Rufus hasn't been in circulation in the US since 1988. That can't be right. Isaiah and I are here. Our parents were here. Did we not even show up on the radar? I scroll and see that even in 1988, our last name only belonged to 0.005% of the US population. We're likely the only two Rufuses left, and even more likely, the only two Rufuses in Chicago, Illinois, USA. Which means the Isaiah Rufus who's going to be at the bottom of that hole in the ground in the graveyard in less than a week is probably my brother. Panic crawls into my stomach like a colony of ants, and I try to breathe as the futility of this whole situation sets in. What do I know? What can I piece together? In a little while, I'm going to pull the photo out of my pocket again. In a graveyard. Why the hell would I be in a graveyard? Which graveyard? Why am I doing this to myself? It doesn't matter what I know or what I do. Isaiah is going to die. So why am I still anxious like I can do something? Why do I still have adrenaline coursing through me like there's some way to fight this? I open my eyes, stare at the ceiling, and follow all the steps that are supposed to calm me down and help me sleep. Take a deep breath, hold my breath, and count to 10. Count to 100. Lie in a corpse pose. Get up and get a glass of water. Open the window and get some fresh air. Stare at the ceiling. Lie with my ass against the wall and my legs up so my body makes an L shape. None of this works. The window is open. The blood that was in my feet is now in my legs. There's water in my stomach and air in my lungs, and I'm still wide awake. Even as I stare at my ceiling, which is a solid white sheet of nothing, my brain charges full speed ahead through the hypotheticals, the what ifs the same fear that swallowed me after I foresaw Sean's end. It happened the summer after I'd lost my parents. We were both 13. I didn't really know how to handle my visions yet or understand the damage they could do to me. Until that day we stood in Sean's backyard, kicking a soccer ball around, just the two of us. It was an otherwise normal day, sunny, summer. Sean offered to teach me how to make the Shiv hand symbol, and for some reason, must have been a moment when I wasn't thinking. I agreed. There's a certain way you can bend your fingers to spell Shiv, and Sean was determined to teach it to me by the time I left his house. But I couldn't get it. My ring finger wouldn't bend into a sharp V for anything. So Sean put down the ball, rolled up his sleeves, and took both my hands in his, guiding my fingers into the correct positions. I was sucked into a vortex of colors, brilliant flickers of what was once the sunshine in Sean's tan skin and dark eyes, and the green grass in the backyard and the clear blue sky, faded into a dull gray-green hue. I was suddenly in the back seat of a car with soft fabric seats and mud stains on the back of the front passenger seat. The rain was so violent, the droplets dancing against the windows made a consistent collective hiss instead of infrequent pitter-pattering. Twin headlights emerged from the darkness before I could realize what they were, zooming straight at me, and the sound. The sound was like something out of an action movie. The ones where everyone important miraculously dodges every bullet, evades every crash, and survives every explosion. But we weren't in a movie. And then, the red. When Sean let go of my hand, we were back in his backyard, with the soccer ball on the grass between us and my hands in the perfect position, spelling out the word Shiv. He was smiling at me. His eyes were searching mine, like he could see through me, like he knew I'd seen something. Or maybe I just thought he was looking at me like that. Maybe I wanted so badly to tell him what I'd seen. I mistook the approval in his eyes for curiosity. I shut my eyes against the memory and covered my face with my hands. What else could I have done? I was scared. I didn't know exactly when the crash would happen, except that it would be raining hard outside. All I knew that I didn't want to be anywhere near that car when it did. I ran all the way home without another word to Sean that day. The whole 2 miles. Talia still lives in that house with her mom, on the south side of East Garfield Park, and I can't even go over there without remembering what I did. I hid. I ignored Sean's texts. I left him wondering what he'd done or said to lose his best friend in the last few days of his life. And a couple of days later, when I woke up from my nap to the sound of rain tapping against my window, I sobbed into my pillow, knowing it was happening. I never saw Sean again, never even saw his face. His casket was closed at the funeral. I can't even go with Talia to take him flowers. I'm afraid looking at his headstone, knowing I could have stayed with him so he wouldn't be alone, would break me completely. I think of Aunt Mackie and how I'll have to look her in the eyes across the dinner table every night until I graduate and go off to college, knowing I knew about Isaiah before it happened. Whatever it ends up being, whatever happens in the next few days, I will have to live with the decision I make leading up to it. I'll have to make it count. I may not be able to keep Isaiah with me for much longer, but I can make sure that in the last few days of his life, he knows he's not alone. I don't have to make the same mistake twice. I can't. I force my body to peel itself from my bed, even while it's still dark outside. I can see the sky from my window, deep and dark and dotted with sparkling stars. The faint, warm purple of sunrise is slowly creeping into view, and my phone clock reads 5:45 a.m. I should be tired, but right now my body's buzzing. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I have to get up. I don't even know where to begin with this. Isaiah is the only person I know who legitimately hates everything. He doesn't watch movies. He doesn't hang with friends. He doesn't even leave the house unless he has to, like for school or a doctor's appointment. He just sits in his room eating Lucky Charms and pizza bites, playing beat ball and listening to music. Occasionally, a box from Amazon will arrive at the door addressed to Isaiah, and either Aunt Mackie or I will knock pass it to him through his bedroom door and leave him to open it in the solitude of his hobbit hole. They're usually just new clothes, with the occasional phone case or headphones thrown in. I know because sometimes I watch the visions of him unboxing things as I carry the boxes to his room. Just because I'm cursed doesn't mean I can't get some fun out of it. But how do I make the next few days meaningful for him? What would that even look like? Besides, offering to sit with him in his room, eating Lucky Charms and pizza bites, and playing b-ball and listening to music? If that's all he likes, what can I give him to make it special? How do you bring joy to someone who just wants to be left alone? I swing my legs off the bed and my feet find the carpet. In the dark, I find my t-shirt draped over the back of my desk chair. The Gorillas one that's going to end up at Goodwill in a few years. I'll take that as a gentle nudge from the universe that I'm headed in the right direction. I slipped the shirt on and stepped gingerly over the piles of clothes scattered all over my floor. Aunt Mackie claims there's a smell of my body spray and fried food in here, but maybe, like the smell of ice cream, at Scoops or the popcorn at her movie theater, it's just begun to smell faintly of sandalwood, incense, and anxiety to me. I ease my door open. It stopped creaking when Aunt Maggie had it replaced last week. I miss my old door. That's where I kept my band sticker Hall of Fame. I've been collecting them for years, a sticker for all my favorite artists. The Gorillaz, The Fray, The Weepies, Kendrick Logic, Panic, At the Disco, Nicki Minaj, Lizzo, Lady LaSure, and the king himself, Shiv Skeptic. So many people I respect whose art who's gotten through me so much. So many people who I've always wanted to see live live. But imagine me, an already anxious, cursed kid, dealing with all those people. No way in hell am I about to walk into such a huge place with so many people and so many surfaces to touch and so many things out of my control. But with my door, I could dream. I had all the greats until Aunt Mackie decided the doors in the house needed an update. And I came home to a brand new, boring white door that still smells like fresh paint. All my stickers, all my memories, gone. But the house's market value is now higher, so it's fine. I roll my eyes. Aunt Mackie's job is important. I get it. I like food. I like having clothes. I like having a bed to sleep in. But she could have let me keep the old door under my bed or something. Talia's sticker, Hall of Fame, is on her ceiling above her bed. I should have put mine somewhere smart like that, somewhere that could withstand all my aunt's home updates. That way, I could stare up at good memories while I try to fall asleep. My blank ceiling is an empty canvas that prompts my mind to wander. I wonder if Isaiah has anything like that in his room. I haven't been in there in a million years. I make my way down the hall, hardly able to see anything except the light from the moon shining down through the skylight in the ceiling. I step through the shower of moonlight and disappear into the darkness on the other side with my arms outstretched, feeling for the door at the end of the hallway. My fingertips meet brushed nickel, and I end the vision of me turning the knob. I glance over my shoulder to make sure I'm alone. What am I doing? Isaiah's probably asleep at this hour. Even he has to crash at some point. But better to check just in case. Hours are precious now, and if he's awake, we're wasting them. I take a long breath and breathe in and obey my vision. Turning the knob, easing the door open, I'm immediately hit with the odor of must and the ineffective scent of body spray. It smells like my PE bag in here. God, I forgot. He has to be reminded to shower these days. I'm surprised to see the blue glow of his computer lighting up the otherwise pitch black room. He's sitting hunched over at his desk, staring intently at the screen. His big white headphones, the size of grapefruit halves, peek out from under his oversized sweatshirt hood. He's swimming in it. But it was Dad's favorite. The black one with the Bulls logo on the chest. A pang of guilt hits me. I didn't even know he still had that, let alone wore it. His eyes are wide, only inches away from the screen. I whisper into the room, Isaiah, Isaiah. But his headphones are too loud. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't even notice me until I step into the room and ease the door closed behind me. The glow of the screen dances on his face. Isaiah? Still no response. I step gingerly closer. I know what it's like to be staring at a screen too closely and then someone steps out of the darkness behind it and scares the living shit out of you. I don't want that to happen to Isaiah, but it does. His eyes dart to me and grow huge, and he reels back in his chair. Dude! He exclaims, one hand over his chest and one hand scrambling to find the mouse and shut down whatever was playing. He stands up, flicks on the desk lamp next to him, filling the room with a brilliant yellow glow. My eyes haven't adjusted, and I squeeze them shut. And I quickly squeeze them shut. What are you doing in here? He demands, stepping out from behind the desk. I squint my eyes open and realize he's not wearing pants. Only checkered boxers and white socks. His leg hair is almost as thick as mine now, and even in this poor light, I can see that his knees are ashy as hell. He's standing with his feet wide and fists balled, like he's prepared to literally fight me out of here. I raise my hands humbly. I'm sorry, I begin. Always a good place to start. It's hard to be mad at someone who's apologizing to you. Hard for me, anyways. Anyway, get up, he says. Get out, he says, his eyes narrowing. He takes a step toward me, and I move backward. Bruh, calm down. I just came to talk. How about bruh? No, get out. I weigh my options. I could insist he calm down, or I could leave and try talking to him later, if there is a later. Or I can bargain with him. Let me finish what I have to say, and I'll buy you all the Lucky Charms you want. Aunt Mackie already buys all the Lucky Charms I want. Fair enough. Get out, he hisses. Now, or I'll tell Aunt Mackie you woke me up. I don't like fighting. It makes me all clammy and shaky and uncomfortable. But I'll bring out the big guns if he makes this difficult. Sit down and listen, or I'll tell Aunt Mackie what you were watching in here. Panic spreads across his face. He sinks down into his desk chair, and folds his arms. His jaw is clenched, and he's staring at me, and he's staring at the wall, refusing to look at me. He and I both know that Aunt Mackie will start cutting some cords if she thinks he's abusing his internet privileges, and I don't want that for him. I'm sure the internet is all he has, being in here all day. Look, I say, kicking a few clothes out of the way to clear a space on the floor. I sit down cross-legged, and I stare at him, hoping he'll look at me. I didn't want to have to threaten you into talking to me. I just came in here to ask what's up. He looks at me now, eyes flashing. What's up? He asks. You want to know what's up? I nod. I don't think all the Lucky Charms in the world can make this conversation less awkward. Yeah, I say with a shrug. We haven't talked much really since we moved here. I feel like I don't really know you anymore. He rolls his eyes and shrugs. You don't. I nod, a lump forming in my throat. He has every right to be angry. After the accident, I shut down, and then And then when we lost Sean, I shut everything and everyone out, including him. Now I have to recover before it's too late. I know, I sigh, scrambling for the words to say. Do you, uh, do you remember when we used to play basketball with Sean in the driveway? His frown deepens, and his crossed arms tighten around himself. I continue. We used to be, I don't know, we used to hang out. It's just that after we moved here, and after Sean, you know, we didn't have much in common, so we don't. Well, I say with open hands. Now I'm trying to fix that. You couldn't text me that? Like way later today, you had to bust down my door at 6 in the morning to ask what's up? It doesn't sound ridiculous when he says it like that. Okay, fine. You want me to cut to the point? I ask. You want me to cut to the point? I ask. I came in here to ask what you want to do today. Anything you want, literally anything, and I'll make it happen. I know I haven't been there for you. I haven't been a big brother to you, like at all. I realize now that I said it aloud that I really haven't been a big brother. I haven't taught him anything. I haven't even talked to him, not for real. Not like this. My cheeks are burning, and I take a deep breath. I really don't want to cry right now. Man up, Alex. Man up. I want to make things right, I say. Just tell me what you want to do. Isaiah glances over his shoulder at his computer. Then he leans forward with his elbows on his knees and opens his hands. You know what I want to do today? He asks. I want to finish what I was watching, then go to bed, wake up this afternoon, eat some pizza bites, and then rewatch what I was watching. And I want to do all of that alone. It's taking all my self-control not to say something I regret right now. I shut my eyes and focus on breathing. I picture Sean's face, smiling at me as we stand face to face in his backyard. He would have known what to do, what to say. He used to stand between Isaiah and me when we'd get into it, especially on the court. Isaiah didn't like that I kept dunking on him, and I didn't like that he kept whining about it instead of pushing himself to jump higher or learn to bob and weave around me. I wasn't that much taller than him, after all. Sean would have offered to swap teams with me so Isaiah and I could play alongside each other instead. He would have suggested we switch it up and do a free throw contest or something. Anything to ease conflict. Anything to keep us all happy. I guess Sean really was the glue holding us together after our parents died. We only hung out when it was the three of us. With Isaiah and me at home, we lived in separate worlds. Hey man, Sean would say if he were standing in this room right now. Why don't we go for a walk or something to cool off? Or ice cream. That'll cool us off too. Oh, actually, it's too early. How about we go look up a recipe and learn to make some? He was always so much more adventurous than I was, so unafraid. I play a sound that's been burned in my memory. The sound of his voice, his laughter. I think of what I'd give to be able to go back to that day I left him standing in his backyard. I think of what I'd say to him if we were here, if he could hear me. Can I drive you anywhere? I press. If you could stop driving me up the wall, that'd be sick. Are we done? Are we done here? Can you go away now? I'm not leaving until we have this day planned out. I give Aunt Mackie my entire browser history before I spend a whole day with you. You don't mean that. There's no way he can mean that. I don't say things I don't mean. He spits. Like, I want to make things right. You don't think I want to make things right? I don't even think you know what that means. He's right, I don't. Mind telling me what that means? I ask. Then I realize I'm getting defensive, and I revert to my original plan. There has to be somewhere you want to go. If you could drive anywhere in the world right now, where would it be? He's silent for what seems like forever, staring at the floor with his hands clasped. So much time passes that I think he'll let the question go unanswered. Then he breaks the silence. You don't care. That stings. I hear him say I hear him saying this to me, but it just sounds like Sean. You never care about anything, he says, pushing himself up out of the chair and walking to the window with folded arms. He leans against the wall and stares at the sill. Since the blinds are closed, just Talia and your job, and panicking about everything. My cheeks are on fire. I know he's right, but it still hurts to hear it. I do care, but I guess he would never know that. I never talk to him. I never reach out to him. I never hang out with him or help him with homework or even play ball with him. Not even in the summer when I have plenty of free time. I watch him closely, shoulders hunched up around his ears. So much rage boiling up inside such a small person. How does he live like that? I mean, I'm pissed too. These are insults he's throwing at me. But something soft and cool is seeping into the cracks between the blocks of rage, stacked into a wall between us. Pity? He continues. Whatever nightmare you had last night to make you realize you should start caring, leave me out of it. I didn't have a dream, I say quickly, spotting this escape route. I would promise never to listen to another Gorillaz song again in my entire life if I could make that vision a bad dream. Whatever, whatever, he grumbles. I'm done talking. I stick to my guns. You were thinking about somewhere to go for a long time there, I press. You have to have thought of somewhere. The pier, Millennium Park, Scoops. Want to start with ice cream and talk? About what? I shrug. Whatever's bothering you. You're bothering me, he snaps. And ice cream won't fix my problems. What problems? Missing mom and dad? I'm not trying to fix that. His anger issues? I wouldn't touch those with a 30-foot pole. What will? I ask, giving him the benefit of the doubt. He's quiet for a long moment before shaking his head. You'd never take me there, he says. Try me, I promise. I'll drive you wherever you want. It can't be anything too wild, right? He's 12. Chuck E. Cheese, the aquarium, the zoo. 25th and Jefferson, he says. What's there? He looks up at me and says, Elginwood Park Cemetery. Why in the name of Biggie Smalls would he want to go to the cemetery where mom and dad are buried? My chest pounds as I remember my vision. Just 6 events will happen before I lose him forever. The morning in the graveyard, the evening I'm going to spend sitting in my chair looking at the photo. Darkness. The lights flickering through my jacket pocket. More darkness. And then I'm back in the graveyard alone, looking down at his casket, never to hear his voice again. I knew you wouldn't take me, I hear him mumble. You're probably too scared. Apparently I've taken too long to answer. No, no, I say, frustrated at my voice cracking while I take a deep breath and say determinedly, let's go. Mind telling me why we're going there, though? You really don't want to get ice cream or something instead? You really want to talk in a graveyard? Somewhere that doesn't progress the vision any faster than it has to? Somewhere that doesn't progress the vision any faster than it has to. If we go to the graveyard this morning, that leaves 4 events. I never said I wanted to talk, he says. That doesn't sound like a no. Fine, I'll go, but no questions, he says, grabbing a pair of pants off the top of a pile of clothes on the floor and stepping into them. He grabs his black Vans sneakers from the foot of his unmade bed and steps past me. Let's go. Once I get back to my room and get through visions of my jeans, my socks, my shoes, my jacket, my wallet, and my keys, Isaiah and I tiptoe through the front door and get into my car, looking out at the winding streets of Santiam Estates. The sun is peeking over the city skyline, dulled by morning, fog and pollution, like a glow stick at a Wiz Khalifa concert. Isaiah is slumped against the window with his hood over his head, staring out at the driveway. It's surreal having him in the passenger seat. I'm so used to seeing Talia next to me. I realize I don't remember the last time he rode in my car. Must have been at least a year. He was so much smaller back then. His legs fit just fine without adjusting the seat. Now he's had to slide the seat back 6 inches just to keep his knees off the dash. I realize he's not wearing his seatbelt. Hey, I say, seatbelt please. He glances over his shoulder at me and sucks his teeth. Now, I insist. My vision wasn't specific. I have no idea when or how it'll happen. In my vision, I didn't see him in the graveyard with me that first time. I didn't see him while I was lying in bed staring up at the photo, and I didn't see him the whole time the photo was tucked away in darkness in my pocket. I didn't see him until I took it out at the funeral and looked down. I don't know when my last moment with him will be. We couldn't crash in the next 5 minutes. We could crash in the next 5 minutes. And even though I know I'm powerless to prevent it, Isaiah's seatbelt gives me the illusion of control. My chest tightens as an idea hits me. I could. What if I just touched his hand? Or arm or something? If I want to know exactly when it'll happen, I could just. My hands are clammy around the wheel, and my heart starts pounding. I remember to breathe, trying to ward this off before it turns into a full-blown anxiety attack. Breathe, Alex. Isaiah's here. He's fine. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. It would be the smartest option if I could just get over my fear. Do I really want to know? Would it change anything? I've taken too long to think it over. Isaiah rolls his eyes and reaches for his seatbelt, clicking it into place and resuming his mopey slumps against the window. I sigh and focus on a spot on the driveway pavement. The hum of the engine isn't enough to cut the silence. I feel my shoulders getting tense, and I become desperate to fill the air with something, even if it's awkward conversation. My mind wanders to our destination. So, of all the things you could choose to do today, you want to visit mom and dad? I say, probably a little too flippantly, conveniently leaving out the implied or Sean. I tried to soften with it. I tried to soften it with, I just want to know if I should be mentally preparing for. Yeah, I have to ask. Why? His voice is softer this time, and I swear I can hear an unsteadiness in it. I just do. I'm not going to force him to keep talking. I turn to the other thing I often use to fill silence, so I don't let my mind wander to whatever embarrassing thing I said the day before to someone who has probably already forgotten about it, or any other social interactions in my past that I've utterly butchered. Music. When I'm lying on my bed with my eyes closed and headphones on, just listening, nothing can touch me. As I pull out of the driveway, I flip on the radio and it finds my phone, automatically starting my playlist off with Black Dragon by the great Shiv himself. This song goes so hard, the lyrics are always stir something deep within me that I've never been able to identify. When those first four bass booms come pounding out of my sound system, I feel like I could park this car, hop out, and sprint 10 miles. If I were alone in here, I'd be rapping and dancing to those opening lines. I glance at Isaiah and decide, screw it, life is too short, and I'm going to do it anyway. Life is too short, I'm going to do it anyway. Banging, balling, bobbing, bouncing, bumping, Black Dragon. Got them bottles pumping, yeah, we hopping in the station wagon. Bitch, your lamb ain't paid off, we made of money. More like made of debt, bet. Call me when you get your credit score is set like Aquanet. I glance at Isaiah, who's looking at me like I've lost it. I launch into the next verse. This is my car. I'll rap if I want to. Let my crew find out you slinging, bringing Chrissy to my shows, bruh. Bringing Chrissy to my shows, bruh. Shit turn you a zombie. Leave your body for the crows, bruh. At crows, bruh. I hear my voice double. Isaiah raps with me through the next lines, and that lift in my chest from earlier, that feeling like I could run 10 miles, multiplies by 50. Niggas think they'll catch me slipping, sipping on this juice, man. Cobra got my keys, cuz. Had enough to get me loose, man. You listen to Shiv? Asks Isaiah. His eyes are wide, and his hands are on his knees. He's leaning forward in his seat and looking at me, totally perplexed. The king? I ask. Of course. Since when? What a question. Since the first EP, The Rush, when he dropped 6 years ago, which he dropped 6 years ago. Most people haven't heard of it. I glance at Isaiah, turn down the radio, and decide to test him. Going down the corner store armed with my hatchet, machete, grenade, and my gun, I rap. Isaiah, without hesitation, jumps into the next part with me, just to have company, someone to talk to, but I make it look like I play this for fun. Holy shit, he knows the rush. How did I not know this about you? I ask. He gets suddenly quiet, and I feel the weight of what he said earlier. When I said, I feel like I don't know him. You don't. I haven't been around enough to know him. We've had the same favorite artist for what? Months? Years even? I'm sorry, I say, glancing down at his hands, which are still resting on his knees. I wish I could offer him some kind of solace and resting my hand on his. But the vision I'd get from that might dissolve whatever sanity I have left. I decide that, no, I don't want to know what happens to him in the next few moments or hours or days. For what? He asks. I shrug and sigh. For not getting to know you. You still have time, he says, so softly I almost don't hear him. That catches me off guard, and for a second I wonder if he knows. I look over at him, but he keeps his eyes staring straight ahead until he notices me. What? I don't graduate for another 6 years, he shrugs, gloomily. I'm not going anywhere. It sends a pang of hurt through my chest, the fact that he's counting down the years he has until he gets to leave. Where to? I don't know. I bite back the next question at first, wondering if I want to start that conversation. But we're heading to the graveyard. Lying in bed, crossed off. Graveyard, crossed off. Sitting in my chair, darkness. Flickering lights. More darkness. Graveyard. We're about to head to the first event that happens before it happens. And I decide that if we're on some final destination shit, I'm not going to waste the little time we have left. The little time we have. Where are you going when you graduate? I ask. There's silence, and then he shrugs. He rests his head in his hand, with his arm propped against the door, dead eyes ahead. Dead eyes ahead, yeah. I don't know, but wherever it is, I'll be writing rhymes. You? He frowns at me. He frowns at me. I didn't mean that like I'm laughing at you, I say. I'm just surprised. You think I've been spending all that time making beatball beats and not writing lyrics to go with any of them? Fair point. Silence drags on for so long that I start to get jittery. I don't know what to say, so I turn to the road and crank the music again just as the chorus drops, wanting to return to 30 seconds ago before I pose the question. When we were singing together as if we didn't have a care in the world, wasn't that what I was supposed to be trying to do? Making his life easier? Say it with me. Ooh, there goes my crew. There go my crew. That's Black Jack. The music vanishes, and I look down to see Isaiah's hand on the dial. Shh, he urges, pointing past my fence out the driver's side window. That's the Zachary's house. I look out the window at the White House with the white rose bushes and slightly overgrown front lawn that I'd be offering to mow any other day. But with Isaiah's time dwindling, there's no way I'd waste a minute over there. Not today, right? I say. Right, I say. The Zacharys have always been nice to Isaiah and me. Ever since we moved in, they have a son who's never home, but they don't talk about him much. I heard his name's Eli. I've never met him in person before, and Aunt Mackie says she hopes I never do. I haven't told her that he sent me a friend request on Facebook. She told me once Eli is always strung out on something, running from somebody for some kind of charges. Apparently, he's only a few years older than me. I glance at Isaiah and thank God he never got involved in shit like that. As mouthy as he is to me, he's never been in trouble with the law, and he knows how to sound professional when he leaves the house. He can rap Black Dragon as well as I can, but once we knock on the Zachary's door, it's "Good morning, Miss Zachary. How are you today?" As I drive past the house at a responsible speed, the wooden gate at the side of the house swings open, and in one fell swoop, Isaiah yanks off his hood and clicks the radio off completely. Mrs. Zachary steps through the gate in her shiny pink silk pajamas with a matching silk robe over the top. Her shoulders are hunched, and her arms are folded as if it's too cold for her to be out here. Her hair, which I imagine was once all blonde and is now mostly a warm gray blonde, is tied into a loose braid at the nape of her neck. So loose actually that bunches have fallen down into her face, indicating she probably slept with her hair like that. She immediately spots us, and her face melts into a smile. She waves, and we wave back, and she steps forward as if she wants to talk to us. "You think she has cookies for us?" asks Isaiah. Mrs. Zachary's white chocolate macadamia nut chopped cookies are the best. She chops up the nuts really small so you're not even mad when you find out you took a bite. The bite you took was more nuts than white chocolate. But it's wishful thinking to imagine she has any freshly baked right now. At 6 in the morning? I laugh. I slow down to a complete stop and roll down the driver's side window. "Morning, boys," she calls, stepping gingerly across her front lawn and down the slope to the sidewalk in her black Nike flip-flops. "Up early?" I nod and glance at Isaiah, who's looking at me. I'm sure he's thinking the same thing I am. I don't really leave the house except to go to work. Isaiah is practically nocturnal, and the Rufus boys are never out together, especially not at no 6 in the morning. Thinking about starting a paper route? Thinking about starting a paper route, Isaiah hollers out the window. Smart. That's something we can easily explain to Aunt Maggie if she happens to notice my car is gone this morning. People in this neighborhood talk too much to keep secrets. Thought we'd try out waking up this early to see if we like it. "Oh, that's so responsible of you," she beams. "I love that. Thanks," replies Isaiah convincingly. I'm not gonna lie, I'm impressed at his quick thinking. He whipped up that lie faster than I can think of one. Maybe I've underestimated how much street smarts he's learned without me already. I forget sometimes that he grew up in East Garfield Park too. Mrs. Zachary looks around up and down the street before stepping forward and continuing in a lowered voice, like she's telling a secret. "You know, if you decide to do a paper route, you could get some exercise and take Eli's old bike. We were about to sell it in a garage sale next Saturday, but if either of you can use it, it's yours." Isaiah and I look at each other. He's probably like me, realizing how much money the Zacharys must have to just be handing out bikes like that. Back in Garfield Park, you couldn't leave a bike chained up in the backyard without somebody jacking it. He looks past me again, out the window to Mrs. Zachary, and I answer for both of us. "Thank you. We'll let you know." She nods. "And be safe out there. And don't stay out too late tonight, okay? You know, with that concert tomorrow night, we're supposed to get all kinds of people around here." I'm used to it now. I'm used to it by now. The code switching, the two-facedness, the pretending to emphasize with white people's concerns about shift skeptic concert goers, while in another reality in which I mowed Mrs. Zachary's lawn several more times and could afford it, and I wasn't so scared stiff of huge crowds. I might be one. And in another reality in which Isaiah gets to grow up, he might have made it big as a rapper himself. My chest tightens. "Aunt Mackie told us," I say. Mrs. Zachary even went as far as to start a petition about the concert, when, as far as I know, the wall is a public venue. It's fair game for any artist popular enough to fill seats. Shiv fits the bill. Even right here in Santiam's estates, she says, her eyes are wide and her mouth is pursed with disgust. People around here shouldn't be allowed to rent out their house just to anybody with a concert like this going on so close, especially in a gated community. It's just dangerous. I don't want you boys getting hurt, okay? Tell your aunt to sign my petition as soon as possible. Yes, Mrs. Zachary, we say almost in unison. Her stern expression melts into a smile before she continues. And come over later for cookies. Double the white chocolate chips. Double the white chocolate chips this time. Isaiah and I exchange glances and something sinks in my chest. Is eating cookies at the Zachary's house really going to impact Isaiah's life? Is Isaiah's time left? Is it really going to help him so much that we shouldn't do anything else instead? I guess we have time to decide that. Maybe. We have we wave our goodbyes and Mrs. Zachary gets her mail while Isaiah and I sail down the road. The radio stays off.